If you've got a stripped out screw or a busted nail in a piece of wood that you want to save, you want to dig it out of there, you could use a cat's paw and make a mess of it, but there's a better way. This is a tip from Don Stevenson from Woodland, Washington, and Don makes a little narrow hole saw to dig these fasteners out and to leave a really clean hole that's easy to patch. Now, I've got a little demonstration offcut of a 2x4 here with a stripped out drywall screw in it, and we're gonna use the hole saw that we've made out of a piece of golf club shaft to dig it out of here. Here's how it works. And this is my guide block. This is the same diameter as the shaft of the golf club, and I'm gonna clamp that over the screw so that the hole saw will have something to guide it into the workpiece. And this is our hole saw. And what I've done here is I've used a hacksaw to cut little curves in the end of this tube, and then I've used a triangular file to put teeth on them, and I've used this punch to put a little bit of set on these teeth so that they flare out a little bit. So those are the tools and the materials that we're going to be using as we remove this piece of metal in a really slick way. Watch this. I've centered my workpiece so that the fastener is over one of the holes in the workbench so that we're not going to tear into the workbench top. And I've centered my guide block with the hole in it right over that fastener, and that's going to guide our hole saw as we remove this fastener. Here goes. Look at that. We'll give you a close-up of this because this is really slick how close it comes to that screw head and misses it. And the way we got the plug out is that we've used a long screwdriver, and that has allowed us to eject this plug. When we were testing this to see if we could actually make this tip do what it's supposed to do, the chrome golf club tube shaft is so slippery that it's hard to get the drill chuck to grab a hold of it. So we put a wrap of masking tape on it, and it worked great. It really held on. If you're going to try this tip and cut curves in the end of a piece of tubing, you're going to find out pretty fast that it's hard to hold that tubing steady when you're trying to cut it with a hacksaw. Here's another tip for that. I made this little feather clamp out of a piece of leftover oak flooring. I drilled a hole the same diameter as the tube, then I cut a curve down the center of this thing. So what I can do when I put it in a clamp is get a really good grip that bears all the way around that tube. You can put the tube in there and clamp it shut and saw away. Works great. Great tip, Don. Thanks for sending it in.